what we don't want in Africa and Nigeria is a future where we are greatly limited because only a few people are able to rise up to the occasion. I would like you to imagine this. If we can make TikTok, you know how addictive TikTok and Instagram can be, right? If we can make TikTok and Instagram addictive, then at Afrilearn, we believe that we can make learning addictive. Because in education, engagement without improvement is simply entertainment. Postal code or where you live often decides your future more than your potential does. For instance, a child that is born in a rural community can just be even more brilliant than the one born in Lekki or London. But without access to quality education, that brilliance stays hidden for life. Those dreams stay buried for life.
Good evening, Mr. Oladipupo of Afrilearn. My name is Addictive, and together I have here with me Nelson Saliu and Ife Oluwa Abolade. We are at the editorial team at TechPolip, a subset of CloudMed Global Limited. And TechPolip is a blog that focuses on tech-related events, startups, and we have the focus of unveiling the faces behind brands in Nigeria, Africa, and expanding throughout the whole world. So yeah, moving forward, sir, we have you here today because we have come across Afrilearn and what you do. So we want to hear from the horse's mouth, just like the African proverb says. Let us hear from you. Let us know how you've been doing it and what are the challenges we've been facing. So right now we are proceeding to the question and answer session. The progression will be that I will take the first question. One of my colleagues will take the second one, and the third one will take the third one. So follow that progression to exhaust the question or till we exhaust the time. Yeah, because we want to keep to time as initially promised. So are you set, sir?
Absolutely. Let's go for it.
All right, sir. Yeah, once again, you are welcome, Mr. Oladipupo. And here is my first question about Afrilearn. And then, okay, here it goes. What gap in Africa's education sector did you notice that made Afrilearn necessary?
Well, first off, thank you very much, guys, for having me. This is a very powerful platform, and I appreciate that you are maximizing the essence of what you're doing in school at the moment. I think it's beautiful. Just reminds me of my time as well. So I'm very excited to be here, and thanks for your beautiful, beautiful work. So to get to the question, regarding the gap in Africa's education sector and why African exists. I think that the education gap in Africa is not just about infrastructure or funding, like we like to say. Of course, not that those do not exist, they do exist. There are problems, definitely, there are challenges, right? But for us, the real gaps that we saw was about access and relevance. So by access, I mean over 100 million African children are either out of school, they don't go to school, or they have very limited access to quality learning. And of course, learning is different from quality learning. You can learn, but the knowledge you just learned might actually be irrelevant or obsolete. So the first challenge we saw was the problem of access. You have children who should be in school, but just because their parents cannot afford a certain amount of money, they can't go to school. I saw that growing up, for instance, which is one of the reasons why we chose to focus on this problem. When I was growing up, I grew up in a very interesting neighborhood in Lagos, and my parents, with the little in code that they had, they sacrificed everything they had to ensure that I got the best education, right? But that was not the story of my childhood from my childhood friends. Some of them today, when I go back to that neighborhood, I see a lot of people that I played with when I was a child. Many of them are still stuck in the same space, doing the same thing that we used to do together decades ago. And that breaks my heart. It's heartbreaking. I'm sure some of us can relate to that, right? So it was first the problem of access. Like we need to democratize access to world-class education. Like no child should have to miss education just because their parents cannot afford it. So that was the first problem. The second one is the issue of relevance. Okay, and by that I mean because even those who often study in school, they're actually studying outdated content, that doesn't prepare them for the future, right? Of course, and I'm sure you know about the realities of today, of the modern realities. When you talk about AI, talk about agentic AI, talk about all the fast, quantum computing, the fast technologies that are happening that are taking over our world, right? I like to say that we are currently navigating the single biggest communication shifts of the last 500 centuries. And it is so powerful, it's so disruptive, it is so monumental that it is radically shaping every sector, right? So, in this kind of world, when you have Africa with its massive population, but unfortunately, the people who are supposed to build the future, that's the children, the young people, they don't have access to quality education. And even for those that have access to some form of education, the education they have access to is not relevant, right? So Afrilearn bridges both gaps by delivering world-class, curriculum aligned and future-ready education that is accessible anytime, anywhere, on any device. So whether you're in Lagos or you're in Sokoto or you're in Accra, or in a village in northern Kenya, you have the same quality and the same learning experience. And that's why Afrilearn exists. That's the gap we saw, and that's the gap we are solving for.
Oh, that's a brilliant one. Thank you for the response, sir.
So my question is this: Afrilearn serves millions of people, sorry, with both free and subscription-based content. So my question is, how does that dual model, how does it support inclusivity, and how do you balance impact with sustainability? Of course, a business has to make profits. So how do you balance making profits with impact at Afrilearn? So that's my question.
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. So essentially, in our world today, what you find is that I'm sure you guys have read about the Lapo and the what's the other one now?
The Nepo and the Lapo
Nepo and
kids.
the Lapo, exactly. So I'm sure you've heard about that. Yeah, that's the answer to that question. So we live in a society where the Nepo and the Lapo are highly, highly either celebrated or criticized, for whatever reason, right? So for us, we knew from day one that our platform couldn't just be an urban luxury where only the children of the wealthy could afford it. So Afrilearn works both online and offline. Students can download an entire term's lesson notes. They can download it at once and learn without data. We've integrated a lot of possibilities into it such that even in very low bandwidth environment, people can learn. And we've partnered with some telcos as well to reduce the costs for data as much as possible. And the reason why we do that is simply because I believe it's simple. Technology should blend and bend to meet the learner's reality and not the other way around, right? So and like I said earlier, what we don't want in Africa and Nigeria is a future where we are greatly limited because only a few people are able to rise up to the occasion. Why? Because for the majority, who came or come from not so wealthy background, right? They are not able to had or contribute significantly to the development of Africa. Why? Because in their formative years, they didn't have access to the kind of education that can help them and empower them to change the world. So intrinsically, we believe that every child, irrespective of their background, regardless of their parents' status, every child deserves access to quality education. That is the number one mission that Afrilearn stands for. And in terms of sustainability, yes, we do a mix of both freemium and paid subscription, right? And how do we do that? Yeah, it's very, very simple. On Afrilearn, anybody can learn for free, right? The only thing is that for you to then have access to some forms of content, in-depth content, you then have to pay a stipend, and it's actually just 2,500 naira per month, And when we say 2,500 naira we mean that gives you access to the entire library of Afrilearn, and when I say entire library, we're talking about video lessons covering every single topic, subject, class from primary 1 to SS3, right? And these content are even more powerful than what you find in some schools because they are animated video lessons. It is gamification, it is highly, highly personalized, right? And you're able to get better, faster, pass any exam, WAEC, exam, NECO. In fact, we have schools right now that are signing up and using it to teach in their classroom. Why? Because they found out that they're able to engage their students a lot better because of the type of content that we have and how we have infused animation, storytelling, fun, into it to make it very, very effective. So, in summary, our platform exists to cater for both the rich and the poor, and we run the freemium and premium model, and we're able to sustain ourselves because from the subscription that we get from the premium, those who are able to afford the premium, that subscription is more than enough to actually get us by, on a monthly basis. And definitely we are scaling. So watch out for us, guys. What you've seen is just a starting point. We are just getting started, and it only gets better.
Mr. Isaac, my question for you is, are all Afrilearn services rendered digitally, or are there some services that are not rendered digitally?
At the
Yes.
moment, all our services are actually rendered digitally, meaning that
Yeah.
you get everything online at the
Okay.
moment. Yes, we have plans to establish centers in future, and in the near future, centers where you can use the online platform, the digital platform in those centers, but you also then have teachers there who are enabling people to learn, because again, you can never take away the place of a teacher, no matter how
Yeah.
good technology is. That's why we have that in the works for future. But at the moment, you can learn anything, K-12 education, complete curriculum based,
Okay.
fun, effective on our platform,
Okay.
digitally. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Isaac. Yeah, given the fact that Afrilearn is a platform where every student should be from any background, whether you are rich, you are poor, be you so high, low, or whatever. I mean, it's a platform that everybody should be. I say well done to you for that. So now that leads me to the second question that I want to ask. That how is Afrilearn giving or addressing accessibility for students who are from suburb areas? I'm talking about those with limited internet connection and what have you. How does Afrilearn give them an avenue to be a part of the system?
Brilliant question. So we have loads and loads of people particularly from the northern part of Nigeria, who have either limited access to internet or who don't even have access to internet at all. So what we have done at Afrilearn is we've enabled our platforms, we've optimized our platforms to ensure that with the most minimal network possible, most minimal data possible, you are able to access and use our platform, right? So people in the north are able to use our platform. People across Nigeria really and beyond, with very minimal use of data, right? And that's why I keep saying that from day one, we knew that it couldn't be just for people who are very rich. Of course, we have wealthy people, wealthy children of the wealthy as well, who use our platform. In fact, some notable people who use our platform, but they use it because it is effective. And also, we have on the same platform people from low-income backgrounds who are also using it to stand out, to excel in school. We have parents who use the platform to homeschool their children. For the last jump, we had lots of parents that were sending us messages, emails, WhatsApp messages saying that despite the issue that happened with JAMB, with the UTME exam and the UME exam, that they are very grateful that their children passed using our platform. So essentially, what we have done is we have optimized our platform in such a way that irrespective of how low the data or connectivity is, people are able to use it. That's what we've done for now. In the near future, we are looking at a world where even with zero data, you should be able to access our platform. And that's why I said we are planning some physical centers very soon, so that in those kind of areas, you would have a center there where you can just go in. You don't need data, and you'll be able to access our content, our platform, our products in those spaces.
Thank you. My question is this. So Afrilearn has scaled rapidly in Nigeria and in West Africa. And I'd like to say kudos to you for that, for
Thank you.
such a wonderful job. But my question is, do you have plans for continental expansion? Do you have plans to go outside of Africa? And if you do, what markets are you targeting next, or what should we expect from Afrilearn moving forward in terms of continental expansion?
That's a brilliant question. So for us, over the next 12 months, actually, over the next 12 to 24 months, we are expanding to Ghana, we're expanding to Kenya, we're expanding to Sierra Leone. We are integrating deeper AI as well for predictive learning outcomes, so that we can allow school, because we recently, beyond the mobile app, we recently launched our school management software, right? It's the first in the sector, because unlike most other school management software where they just have the software that can automate admin, do payment and all of those things, because we started out building Afrilearn as a content platform, we are then bringing our content into the school management software. So what that means is that schools don't just get software, they also get the richest, Africa's richest curriculum-based content library within the school management software, right? And we have started onboarding schools. They are very, very excited to onboard. So because of that, we are now scaling, to answer your question, to West African countries, because of the value that the product carries and the demand that we've seen in those spaces. So we're going beyond Nigeria, because for us, it's really about value and shaping the ecosystem for good. Many platforms offer content, but few offer contexts. So Afrilearn doesn't just throw materials at students. We have gamified learning, we track progress, we celebrate milestones, and then we have all the capabilities that an African edtech should have. Our mix of global quality production, local curriculum, gamification, storytelling, affordability means that, we're not just competing, we are refining the category. So we are taking all of that and, gifting it to other countries across West Africa in the next couple of months. So yes, you will see that as we go to market in those countries in a couple of months to come.
Okay, thank you very much for your answers, Mr. Isaac. My question for you is, one of the things you do is conducting online exams. So when you are conducting your exams,
Yeah.
how do you protect the integrity of the exams by making sure that participants cannot cheat, since you are not with them physically?
Wow, interesting question. I remember when we were developing that feature, just reminded me of the feature that protects from cheating and all of that. So the way our platform works is such that we have inbuilt systems that ensure that, okay, if you're doing exams on our platform, for instance, you are being monitored completely. So once you start the exam, before you even start, you'll be given instructions. And once you start the exam, you cannot leave until you are done with the exam, right? If you have to leave, it will shut down everything until you're back, just to be sure that you are not being assisted and you are not going to other platforms or leaving that particular screen to go and get answers on another screen, if you get what I mean. So all of that, we have leveraged the best technology and AI to evolve the platform in such a way that it guards against malpractice and ensures that the student has not just the best experience, but they also have it in a secured environment that ensures the integrity of the results that the students, the parents, and all the stakeholders get from every exercise on the platform.
All right, thank you, Mr. Isaac. So as we move forward, the edtech is becoming a porous niche in Africa. So what is that distinction? What distinguishes Afrilearn from other edtech outfits?
Interesting question. So, in terms of what distinguishes us, I think for us, it's very straightforward. First is that, and this is not because I'm co-founder at Afrilearn. We are very big on the users from the very get-go. We say that we like to pride ourselves on the fact that we build not for people, not for companies. We build for our users, right? So, in terms of what makes us different, I would like you to imagine this. If we can make TikTok, you know how addictive TikTok and Instagram can be, right? If we can make TikTok and Instagram addictive, then at Afrilearn, we believe that we can make learning addictive. So in Afrilearn, students earn coins by completing lessons. They earn money, by completing lessons, by answering quizzes, and by maintaining their streaks. Streaks are the things that you get by coming on the platform to learn every day, so that you're able to build the habit of learning. Not just for a school or exam, but for long life success. So they can also redeem their rewards. They can compete with friends, and they can celebrate their wins. So it's basically turned learning from a boring chore into a game, right? But this time around, a game in which the prize is a brighter future, right? So that is one thing that separates Afrilearn from everybody, the gamification that we brought into the mix. Second thing really is the fact that we leverage storytelling in every content that we deploy. Our video lessons, so for instance, the video lessons we have in our products are one of the most engaging in the ecosystem. Why? Because when we started out, we actually didn't just build products. We actually started by building content. We built a studio where we brought in some of the best teachers across the country. So these stars come into our studio. The way Nollywood actors will come into a studio and they will start acting or go on a location and act. So the stars come into our studio, but this time around, instead of acting, they are teaching. So they teach every single topic across all subjects, across all classes, in front of cameras, right? And then when they are done, it doesn't end there. We then take those videos that are already very, very quality, curriculum aligned, and then we embed animation into it, such that by the time a learner is watching our video, they are not only seeing the image of a teacher teaching like they see in their classroom. When a child is in a classroom, what they see a teacher teaching, and a lot of times children pay attention, but a whole lot of time as well, children wander away. Why? Because it's not engaging enough for them, especially in the new world that we're in right now. So what we do is we animate those video lessons such that by the time a learner is watching our video, they are not only seeing a teacher teach like the experience in their classroom, but they're also seeing illustrations, animation of what is being said or taught per time on the same screen. So the teacher is by one side and the animation is by the other side. So for instance, if I'm teaching photosynthesis and I'm saying photosynthesis is defined as blah, 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 you are seeing illustrations of what I'm saying as a teacher, on the same screen. If your teacher is by the left, the illustration is by the right. And then it's just very engaging. And from our research as well, and the results we've seen, it has proven to dramatically increase and improve learning outcomes, significantly, and just ordinary videos, right? So when you put gamification together, you put storytelling together, and you put access, affordability together, those are things that stand us out naturally anywhere in the ecosystem. And we're very grateful for that.
Thank you. So my next question is this. In traditional classrooms and traditional learning institutions, the learning metrics are usually most times a combination of continuous assessment, student participation in class, and then the final examination. So I want to know at Afrilearn, what are your metrics for learning outcome measures to determine the student's performance? And is it completion of tasks, completion of the videos that are on the platform and the examination scores?
Thank you very much for that. We have different metrics that we look into, right? I think I'll speak about maybe 5 of them. Because we also have different products at Afrilearn now. We have a suite of products. We have the Afrilearn app, which is for students. We have the Afrilearn School Management Software, which is for schools. We have classnotes.ng, which is largely for learners and teachers. And then we have Exambly, which is strictly for exams, Exambly. So those are our four flagship products, So in terms of what do we measure? I think the first one really is grade improvements. Over 80% of students improve by at least one grade level within 3 weeks of consistent use of Afrilearn, right? So for instance, in Lagos, one of the schools that use us, average WAEC pass rates went from 42% to over 82% in just one academic year after adopting Afrilearn, right? That's the first thing we measure, the grade improvements, because it's a major pain point for schools, for parents, even for students themselves. The second thing we measure is the retention and engagement. So students who use Afrilearn for more than 15 to 30 minutes per day, they usually show a 37% higher retention rate than their peers who don't use our platform, right? They also take daily streaks and gamification, which keep over 65% of active users coming back every day, at least 5 days a week using the platform, because they are not just learning, remember, they are also having fun, they are getting rewarded for it. The third thing we measure is exam success rates. So in our partner schools, WAEC, NECO, and JAMB success rates have improved by more than 50%, across 2023 and 2024. We've seen that 8 out of 10 Afrilearn premium users passed all their core subjects in first sitting, right? And then we also look at the time that it saves for teachers, particularly our school management software. So the Afrilearn SMS saves teachers over 2 hours every week, because before now, schools that don't use the Afrilearn software or any other software, they have to do attendance. Imagine a teacher marking attendance every day by hand with paper and pen, right? That's the time they can spend teaching a child, or the time they can spend being a coach to a child. Then there's grading. After tests and exams, they have to sit down for hours and start marking. That's another thing. There's attendance, there's marking, there's communicating to parents, communicating to their, administrators in school. There is school fees payments, that is one of the biggest pain points for schools, right? All of these things, we have automated them with our school management software, right? So it saves them time. It helps them get paid a lot faster. It helps them grow faster at the school. Because when a parent gets treated well in a school, they recommend your school to at least 2 other parents. And this enables more time for teaching as well, for the teachers and for the students as well. It gives them resources that they normally would not have, right? So all of these things are things that we measure. I think the final thing I'll talk about is parent engagement. And that's because we've seen that 70% of parents in our partner schools have reported feeling a lot more connected to their child's learning, through Afrilearn's real-time updates. So schools that use the Afrilearn management software, for instance, they are able to send automatic updates to parents about how the child is doing in school and all of those things. So those are basically the things we readily measure at the moment at Afrilearn.
Thank you, Mr. Isaac.
My pleasure.
My question is, you also offer a homework help service. So
Yes.
if a client homework involves essay writing, how do you help them in this instance? Do you write the essay for them, or do you coach them to write the essay? Being aware of the fact that writing the essay for them will not help them educationally.
Yeah, that's a brilliant question. So now that's one of the things that we actually thought about when we built the homework help feature, right?
Okay.
I'm sure we all know about ChatGPT and how
Yeah.
both for good and also for bad, right? Depending on how you use it. It's just like money. Money is neither good nor bad. Money just takes on the character of the person who has it at that point in time. The same thing with AI tools. So our work help feature is actually an AI tool. And what we have done is very, very genius. So what we have done is, with all humility, is very, very brilliant. What we have done is, when a child asks our AI-powered homework help a question, right? What many solutions do is to just regurgitate the solution to the child. We don't do that. So what happens on our platform is when you ask Afri, because that's the name of our work help tool. When you ask Afri a question, it comes back to you with prompts and questions that lead you to the solution that you are seeking. So that way, the reason why we've designed it that way is that after that experience, you don't only have the answer, but you are also able to solve it the next time by yourself. So that's how we have built, developed, and evolved our homework help feature called Ask Afri. So it doesn't regurgitate solutions to you. It takes you through the process so that after that experience, you're able to solve it by yourself. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Isaac. That means Askafri is also a teacher, a digital teacher in this instance. So, what would be the last question from my end? Is Mr. Isaac still on the call?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, sir. So, what will be the last question from my end is moving forward, sir, moving ahead. What is the next Afrilearn, the next line of action for Afrilearn in terms of expansion, product innovation, or partnerships?
Yeah. So in terms of what's next for Afrilearn, right now, what next for us really is scaling, is scaling. We spent the last 5 years building really, really intuitive, amazing, life-changing products within the Nigerian and African edtech space. So we have the Afrilearn app, which is a brilliant, brilliant solution, right? That really helps children to not only excel in school, but it helps them to love learning. It helps them to achieve the top grades easily in school, and it helps them to succeed in life because we also have coding classes on the platform, right? So we built African app, which is available on the Play Store and iOS from primary to secondary level education. We've also built the school management software, which essentially is also a fantastic product. It's the smartest way to run and grow your school, because it makes it easy to manage school, to improve student performance, engage parents, and grow any school's income all in one place. We've also built classnotes.ng, which is our free, it's like our CSR products. It's available for free. People use it all over the world in millions, India, UK, US, Africa, Nigeria, And then finally we have Exambly, which is like our exam-focused products that essentially helps people to not only attempt examination or to pass in one sitting. So in terms of what is the future looking like, we're looking to scale all these beautiful products that we built. We want to scale them beyond the shores of Nigeria, beyond the shores of West Africa. That's what we're doing right now, to scale them and to really, really ensure that our systems and structures are stronger. I think those are the two core focus for us. So you'll be seeing a lot, like I said earlier, scaling is our focus. We are scaling to new territories, new countries, and making our products, our systems and structures a lot stronger, a lot better, so we can better serve our users and our stakeholders, which are students, parents, and schools, of course, and teachers accordingly. So that's what next for us, scaling Afrilearn, essentially.
Thank you. My final question for you is that how does Afrilearn want to stay ahead? Yes.
Okay, well, it's a nice question. So in terms of how does Afrilearn stay ahead, I think the way we stay ahead is by focusing on two things: our vision and our users. So both our vision, our vision is to an Africa where every child, irrespective of their background, has access to world-class education, right? And in terms of also focusing on our users is our goal and the secret to staying ahead of our competitors is listening to our users. So we're building for users, and we're building for real lives, not just users. So many edtech solutions are designed for perfect conditions, stable internet, unlimited devices, and all of those things. But our users are real people. They are students in both urban and rural Nigeria, sharing one phone, teachers managing 100 students plus in a class, parents juggling multiple jobs. So we designed for that reality, offline first content, light data usage, simple interface, very soon multilingual support, and then for us, we also focus on outcomes over optics. So in EdTech, it's very tempting to chase vanity metrics like downloads, page views, number of lessons uploaded. For us, we don't. We track improved grades, the times we are saving for teachers, parent engagement rates, because in education, engagement without improvement is simply entertainment. It's not impact. So we are building a living ecosystem, not just a product. A single app can be uninstalled, but a whole ecosystem is unforgettable. So Afrilearn is not just a platform, it is Afrilearn SMS for school operations, class notes for free curriculum resources, Afrilearn app for personalized learning, and then Exambly for exam prep mastery. So all of that we have in one. So Afrilearn is like a group, an EdTech group in one that caters for different problems in that space. So in summary, how we stay ahead of our competitor can summarize in two things: laser focus on our vision and laser focus on listening to our users so that we can keep evolving the product based on their needs. That's it for us.
My final question for you is, and this is a very befitting question to end the chat. In your opinion, what's the biggest challenge facing education in Nigeria? Seeing that education in Nigeria is going through, a very turbulent episode, what to you is the biggest challenge, and what could be the remedy to fix this education in Nigeria?
Thank you very much for that question. So for me, the biggest challenge facing education in Nigeria is not just the poor infrastructure or lack of it is in two way. We have two Nigerias in education. We have children who have access to trained teachers, internet, modern textbook. In the other one, we have children who have torn textbooks, sit on the floor and all of that. And the tragedy is that the problem is that your postal code or where you live often decides your future more than your potential does. For instance, a child that is born in a rural community can just be even more brilliant than the one born in Lekki or London. But without access to quality education, that brilliance stays hidden for life. Those dreams stay buried for life. So the real roots of the problem, is not just about scarce resources, it's that the best solutions are not evenly distributed. Even in schools with good infrastructure, the content often doesn't prepare schools for the skills that the modern world demands right now, like digital literacy, problem solving, critical thinking skills. All of these things are things that education in Nigeria needs to start focusing on, because again, we can either prepare these children for the future or we can prepare them for the past, right? And what good solutions do is prepare you for the future. So those are the problems that I see in our space. And in terms of the solution has three parts for me: technology that works everywhere, online, offline, high bandwidth, low bandwidth, urban, rural. It must be evenly distributed. Second is we need private public partnerships, where governments, tech companies, NGOs come together to align on a shared goal that every child gets the same quality of education. And then the third thing will be teacher empowerment. We need to give our teachers the best training, the best tools, and the best support to teach better, to teach wiser, and to manage classrooms more effectively. So those are part of the problems, core problems that I see really, particularly the public-private partnership part, right? And this is also where Afrilearn comes in. We built a platform that works with or without internet, covers the full national curriculum, and is gamified to make learning addictive in a way that is positive, right? So whether you're in Lagos or you're in Adamawa, you have the same quality of learning experience on our platform. So those are the challenges that I see. And I think that I actually foresee that in the near future, we can solve these things if we come together. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Mr.
much.
Isaac.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
It's been a wonderful time with you for the past few minutes, almost an hour. It's a pleasure, an honest pleasure to have you around, and we really appreciate you for honoring our invitation. We hope that moving forward, you will not short the day of your of Afrilearn to us when next we come calling that, okay, we have another interview with you or any team member of Afrilearn to further explore new innovations that would have been incorporated into the system. All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right. All right.
We are
Thank
together.
you.
And thank you for the beautiful work that you're doing as well. And thanks for really, really maximizing your youth. I love what you're doing, and I pray for the very best of future for you guys as well.
All right. Thank you. All right. Nelson, Ife, what do you have for Mr. Isaac before we go into comments?
But I do have anything. I just want to say thank you so much for your time. Thank you for answering all our questions. I really appreciate it personally. And we hope to do this again some other time.
Absolutely. It's nice to meet you, Ifeoluwa, and well done for I particularly enjoyed your questions as long as they are in addition to the guys' brilliant ones as well. So well done and thank you.
Mr. Isaac, I want to say thank you for what you are doing to contribute to development in society and education in particular.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a beautiful rest of the day. And
Thank you.
okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.